Hello, friends and comrades. My message to the Ukrainian ambassador to Lithuania on preserving the dignity of the Ukrainian people, November 23, 2025. Dear Mrs. Ambassador Olga Nikitchenko, in his evening statement on the 21st November 2025, President Volodymyr Zelensky expressed concern for preserving dignity of the Ukrainian people in case the peace plan of Donald Trump is signed. Trump demands the territory of Donbas region be ceded by Ukraine to Russian Federation in any form. The mean for saving face can be found if we recall that even after the legal authorities of Donbas declared creation of Donetsk and Luhansk People's Republics in the beginning of April 2014, they nevertheless still consider themselves part of Ukraine. As before, they only demanded federalization and autonomy. The disastrous error of Ukrainian authorities was complete ignoring of that demand. Then both republics voted for independence on 11th May referendums 2014. Another catastrophic error of Ukrainian authorities was sabotaging of Minsk negotiations, although those negotiations in no way threatened the sovereignty and territorial integrity of Ukraine. Now, in order to diminish the harm made to dignity of Ukrainian people, it is possible to try to correct those errors, though partly. It is possible to propose to Trump to include into the peace treaty draft a different motivation of withdrawal of Ukrainian army from Donbas, namely to recognize the results of the mentioned referendums of 11th May 2014, which were carried out by their former fellow citizens of Ukraine. This concession would be made just to them, which is not humiliating, but not to fascist dictator Putin, which is really humiliating. How to shape such a proposition politically and diplomatically, this can be discussed. It is obvious to everyone that whatever current difficulties of the Russian economics, they are incomparably smaller than Ukrainian ones. Europe does not have sufficient resources to provide practical assistance to Ukraine, whereas Trump does not want to assist in full scale. The peace treaty needs to be signed. Sincerely, with respect. My additional comment. If the local legal authorities of any part of a state, basing themselves on the right of nations to self-determination, declare a secession from that state, then this secession is illegal only if this part has never historically belonged to its current population. Russians in the northern Kazakhstan, in Estonian city of Narva, in Latvian city of Daugavpils are not living on their historical territories, so they cannot claim secession. Simply, their national rights must be guaranteed, according to United Nations standards. The territory of Donbas historically belonged to neither Russians nor Ukrainians. Until the 15th and 16th century, it was uninhabited steppe, the so-called wild field, formerly controlled by the Crimean Tatar Khanate. From the 16th century onward, it was increasingly occupied by the Grand Duchy of Muscovy, and in the 18th century, it was finally occupied by the Russian Empire. The empire settled these steppes with Russians and let also Ukrainian peasants to settle there and even further eastwards as far as the Volga River. But none of these are historical Ukrainian lands. Therefore, Donbass has the right to separate itself. But it would not have done so provided it had been granted autonomy, protecting it from the forced Ukrainization being carried out in Ukraine today. Now the Russian Federation has militarily helped Donbass to secure its national rights. Therefore, we must consider now how Ukraine could admit defeat in the war with the least possible humiliation. Thank you for your attention.